Welcome to Mind, Business, and Soul. I am your host, Mahogany Butler, and I am so excited to have with me today the business coach for female life coaches, Mrs. Valerie Priester. Welcome, Valerie.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about yourself and about your business.
So as you said, I am the business coach to female life coaches. I help female life coaches go from overwhelm, confusion, frustration, so that they can move to profit. I help them eliminate all of the stumbling blocks that they normally run into when it comes to either starting or launching their business, because there's so many pieces. And so I help them to really navigate putting those pieces together so that they can move to profits.
Right. So I know that I invited you today to discuss nourishing a growth mindset, but this is a summit that's for women entrepreneurs. So I want to get started first with asking you about your business journey. What made you decide to be an entrepreneur? And just tell us a little bit about your journey to getting to where you are today.
Absolutely. So I actually started this journey as a result of working with 5 women. So story goes all the way back to starting a Bible study at work. And I was elected the leader of the Bible study, as I'm often always placed in the position of the leader. I don't know how that happens, but I think I'm just born to be a leader. And as we were moving through and having these Bible studies, there were 5 women that came to me and they wanted to know, like, how is it that you always seem to have this sunny disposition about you, this positiveness about your life, and no matter what happens in your life, you still seem to just keep that same attitude about what's happening and being positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they wanted me to work with them and help them to really get clear on, number one, their purpose. Back then too, it was about their identity and more so their identity in Christ, and helping them to really understand who they were and the power and the potential that they have to be, do, and have whatever they wanted, was my start of my journey. And I watched these 5 women, their lives just totally transformed after working with me for just a few short months. And it was their decision and prompting, if you will, to me saying, you need to check out coaching. Like, I had no clue what they were talking about. I was like, coaching? What, sports? And so they said, yeah, you need to check out coaching because you have this way about you, this gift about you, where you are able to really help people pull out that confidence and do the things that they thought they could never do before. And so I said, okay, fine, I'll check into this. And I did my due diligence and I started looking for, what is life coaching? What is it all about? And I actually wanted something that aligned with my beliefs at the time. And so I ended up finding a institution out of Florida that provided a Christian life coach certification. And so I took that program and became a Christian life coach, and that was the beginning of my journey. And so I continue to coach women, help women really be able, like I said, to live up to their full potential and do the things that they thought they never could do before. And that was the beginning.
Okay, I can definitely agree with those ladies. They were absolutely right. I followed you for a while. I've listened to your lives that you do, and you are definitely motivational, and you do pull that out of a lot of women.
Thank you.
So, how you said they liked your sunny disposition?
Yes.
Was there ever a time that you didn't have that, like maybe earlier in life before you started this business, or at any point did you have those negative thoughts that you had to overcome?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think because we are so conditioned by society and labels that are placed on us when we're coming up as, young children. I struggled with confidence. I struggled with really believing in myself and knowing that I can do, be, and have whatever I want. And so I had those negative thoughts. I had those things that were causing me to self-sabotage and thinking that, oh my goodness, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy, right? I dealt with those struggles too. So no, I didn't always have a sunny disposition. I wasn't always, like they call me, the flowers and berries lady, right? I wasn't always that person. There were times in my life where I really listened to a lot of the critics that were in my life. And let me just say this, one of the biggest contributors to where I am today and the person that I am today was one of my biggest critics. And it was because, at the time, she was my aunt. And she meant well, right? I know that now. I knew that later. You know what they say, hindsight is 2020.
Yeah.
But in the moment when those things were happening, she would compare me to her children, right? Because I didn't finish high school and I didn't go right from high school to college, and she would always compare me to her children and say that I wasn't smart enough. And I remember making the mistake of sharing my dream of wanting to be an entrepreneur and wanting to own my own business and be my own boss. And I shared that with her, and and her words were crushing. She was like, "Well, you can't do that. You're not smart enough." Right? Remember, you really didn't even finish school. You got a GED. You're not smart enough. And so for years, her words really haunted me, and in fact, it fueled me for years. So every job that I ever took, I would excel to the top. I would excel in management within 3 months' time, because what I kept hearing in the back of my head was her voice saying, "You can't do that. You're not smart enough." And so I used that as my fuel to always advance and excel in whatever I did. But then there came this whole thing called entrepreneurship. Woo. So it's one thing to excel and be great at jobs, but then when you step out on your own and you really start to live the dream that you say you want and create a business, that was scary. And for me, I did well, in many different things. I've operated many different types of businesses. I tell people all the time, I've sold art, Black art, I've sold Tupperware, I've sold Mary Kay, I've sold Avon. I've sold so many different things and had so many different types of businesses, because I believe I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. And what would happen was I'd have a little bit of success and then I'd fall away, right? Well, the falling away part was a result of what was going on in my mind. So remember, I said for years I would use my aunt's words as fuel to excel and exceed in whatever I did. But now when I became an entrepreneur, her words came back to haunt me, and they were almost like daggers. And I would repeat that same labeling and telling myself, "You're not smart enough. You can't do this. No one will buy from you." And so I struggled with that for a long time until I realized that, look, you got to get some help with this. And that's when I hired my first business coach. And really, she helped me to dig deep and understand why I would take 5 steps forward, have some success, and then fall back again. It was all going back to the labels and the critic that was playing in my head.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think a lot of us deal with that self-sabotage.
Yes.
I think it takes you a while to realize it.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird to me how a lot of times it's when you're getting more successful that you start to pull back. And it's when someone else hears you say that, they're like, "But why would you?"
Right.
But I did that many times. I'm just like you. I've started a few different types of businesses, and they'll start to get some momentum and people start to look at me a little too closely. I would say, "Oh, well, no, maybe I shouldn't be doing this." And I'd find reasons to kind of procrastinate and stop doing what I should. Your mindset can really, really hold you back if you let it.
Absolutely. And a lot of people call that a fear of success. There's some truth to that, because when you step into real success, when you start having any level of success, you start to look at, oh my goodness, things are going to have to change. I'm going to have to change. My life is going to have to change. Maybe my environment, the people that are involved in my life, they may have to change. Mm-hmm. And so that causes a lot of people to become afraid and they step back, right? And then it's like you have one thought that says you can't do it, or I'm afraid to do it. And then a second thought comes, and it comes as quickly as 17 seconds to really validate the first thought that, yeah, you can't do this. And then if you let that continue, those thoughts keep snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. And the next thing you know, you're down this rabbit hole and you can't figure out how you got there. Wow. And then you can't get out.
Yeah, yeah. So my next question was going to be, how does mindset affect our success as entrepreneurs? But I think we're kind of already talking about it.
Yeah. I think the big thing about being an entrepreneur and owning your own business, a lot of people think that, it looks easy because they see you from the outside. They see, they see you on social media. They see things happening in your business and in your life, and they think, oh, that's pretty easy. Well, it's not that easy. It requires work, dedication, and a commitment, right, to build your business. But greater than that, I tell my clients, I tell people all the time, I can give you a playbook on what to do in your business and tell you, do 1, 2, 3, ABC, and do it just like that. But if you don't have the right mindset to go along with that playbook, it won't work for you. And
Exactly.
that's why you see some people, they seem to rise to success quickly or overnight, but it wasn't an overnight process. But then you see other people who are still struggling with that same process. And they may be doing the same exact things that this other person's doing, but it's not working for them. It goes back to mindset.
Wow. Yeah. So, do you have any mindset rituals that you practice?
Absolutely. I was hoping you asked me that question. Every morning, I make sure that I spend time in meditation, prayer, whatever you want to call it, right? But you need to spend time in silence, in quietness, because that's where you get your instruction. That's where you get your answers. A lot of times we're searching for answers outside of ourselves. We're searching for answers externally, and all of our answers are within us. And so every morning I make sure that I take time to sit in silence, to listen, to hear, to pray, to ask for what I want, right? And not only ask for what I want, but to pretty much recite my mantras and my affirmations that confirm I will get what I want, right? Because I believe that. And so that's one of the things that I do every single morning. Another thing I do is I make sure that I listen to something that is uplifting, that is encouraging, and that feeds my mind. A lot of times we get hung up in listening to all of the stuff that's going on around us and in our environment, and we don't realize that those are seeds that are planted in our mind. And so I make sure that I'm going to start my day feeding my mind what I want it to receive and not just allowing anything to come in. That's my daily ritual.
I like that. I like that. So, how does someone choose their affirmations? Um,
Affirmations are, they're tricky. Some people believe them, some people don't, right? What I tell my clients and what I tell people to do when you're talking about and trying to pick the perfect affirmation for you, 9 times out of 10 is a lot better if you create and write your own. Now, that may be hard for you depending on where you are in your mindset right now. If your mindset is really stuck in a place where it's very negative and you're just starting the process of really working with that and becoming aware of it, it may be hard for you to write affirmations, because affirmations are all about stating something in a positive sense as though it has already happened. Right. And so if you're stuck in a negative mindset, it may be hard for you to believe that this is even possible for you. And so the key to an affirmation working is, number one, you got to believe it. And so you may find it very difficult right now to write that affirmation, again, depending on where you are in your mindset. So I say then find an affirmation that will speak to your spirit, speak to your soul, speak to your heart, right? And there's so many different people out there that publish affirmations, and that, that's their body of work. Louise Hay is one that I follow and I absolutely love. You can go to her website. She has tons of affirmations. Deepak Chopra is another one. You can go to his, website and look him up and find affirmations that he has. People like Tony Robbins, right? And these are all people, again, that you want to follow, you want to engage in, because they are going to help you really shift your way of thinking. And so you can pull from any one of those resources and find an affirmation that speaks to you. But remember, in order for it to work, you have to believe it. So when you say it, if there's any feeling of, this is not true, or I don't know if I can believe this, or, man, I don't know why I'm saying this because this is not going to happen. If there's any of that, that's not the one for you. And an affirmation can be as small as something, like, things are always working out for me. That's like one of my favorite ones. Things are always working out for me, right? Doesn't require heavy belief, but it does require some. So that may not work for you, but find an affirmation that works for you.
Would you mind sharing one of yours with us?
Absolutely. So as I said, things are always working out for me is one. Another one, and this one is from Louise Hay, is that I am positively expecting great results no matter what I see in front of me. The universe is shifting or rearranging everything for my good. I am positively expecting great results no matter what I see in front of me. The universe is rearranging everything for my good. Right? And that may not be verbatim how she wrote it, but I, again, take that affirmation and make it my own, because it has to speak to me, right?
Yeah.
When we talk about money, that's a big area where people don't tend to believe, what's possible for them. And so one of my favorites is one that I got from Tony Robbins, and it is God's wealth is circulating in my life, right? His wealth flows to me in an avalanche of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously by infinite intelligence. I am one with God, and God is everything. Now, some people say, oh my God, that's long, right? It took me a while to remember it, but I got it in my spirit. I know it, right? There's another one that I use from Bob Proctor, and it's, I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. I repeat that like 3 times a day. I also repeat the Tony Robbins 3 times a day, right? Because they speak to me. So it's just that simple.
Okay. Thank you for sharing those. So I do know a tool that you use with law of attraction is you have to be focused on what you want. Absolutely. And what you don't want. And I know that can be hard for people. We'll say things like, I don't want something to happen, instead of saying the positive end of that. So how do we stay focused on what we desire and not what we don't desire?
It's a daily practice. It really is a daily practice. And it is becoming aware of your every thought. See, I think one of the biggest problems for us and why we have a hard time staying in a place of thinking positive and controlling our thoughts is because we do not stay aware of what we're thinking. And so I tell my clients, I tell, my friends, people, I say all the time, check in with yourself throughout the day. Ask yourself the question, what am I thinking? And if you have to tie the question to something that is physical, like every time you go to the refrigerator, ask yourself, what am I thinking? Or every time you touch a door handle or a doorknob, ask yourself, what am I thinking? Right? Make that a practice throughout your day so that you can check in. Because the truth is this, we have anywhere from 70 to 90,000 thoughts a day. And the experts say 80 to 85% of those are negative. So if you're not checking in, if you're not asking yourself, what am I thinking? You may possibly be thinking on a subconscious level of all of the things that you don't want, right? Because those are the things that are probably the most near and dear to you right now because they're not there. So we've been taught, this whole thing about I'll believe it when I see it. When really it should be the other way around. You have to believe it before you see it. And so what we've been taught, we act that out every single day. And that keeps us in that space where we're looking at what we don't want. And when you're focused on what you don't want, you might as well get a megaphone and say, hey, come to me. Come to me. I don't want you, but come to me. Because you're calling that. You're creating that from your very thoughts. And so how you really, manage that and keep your mind from focusing on what you want is you've got to go back to what you desire. And here's a good trick. If it's hard for you to stay focused on what you desire, then switch your focus to gratitude. What are you grateful for that you have right now? Gratitude can move you away from the negativity of looking at what's not there, and then move you into a more positive feeling of hope that I know there's more to come because look at what I have now. I'm grateful for this. And so always, again, become aware of your thoughts, move to gratitude if you can't move immediately to the thinking of what you want, and then go to what you want.
Okay. All right. So we're in the middle of this pandemic and it's scared a few people, especially those of us that have our own business, especially those of us that are just starting our own business. May have started just in January, and then to find out in March, things have changed completely. So how should we as entrepreneurs adjust our way of thinking during this pandemic?
Okay, you got to focus still on what you want. One of the biggest things is you have got to be in control of what you're allowing in your mind, right? So becoming aware of your thoughts, and becoming aware of what you're feeding into your mind. This is when we think about looking at the news every day. Like some of us get so captivated by what's going on that we stay focused in on the news, and we got to watch the news every single day. And we're watching hours upon hours upon hours of the news, and we don't even realize it because we're captivated, right? And so one of the key things that I tell my clients is limit your intake of news. Because the truth is this, the news is not going to tell you anything different from the, 8 o'clock in the morning news, to the noonday news, to the 6 p.m. news, to the 11 o'clock news. They all got the same report. And I can give you this report like in 2 seconds. Here's the report. The numbers are climbing. There's more people hospitalized. We had a few more deaths, right? And we're thinking about going back to phase whatever in the lockdown. That's your news.
Yeah.
You don't need to stay tuned into that. And so how you're going to shift your mind in this time of dealing with this pandemic is shift away from all of that. And again, get back focused on what you desire for your business. This is the best time for you to start creating the things that you wanted to create. This is the best time for you to even start the business, because if you know about history, when we went through depressions and all of those things, great inventions came out of that. Businesses came out of that. Right? And it's because those people got focused on what they desire and what they wanted to create and how they wanted to make this world a better place. And they focused on doing that. So it's all about shifting your focus. Don't stay focused on the news. Get focused on your business.
Okay. All right. So I know that you have a special offer for our attendees today. Tell us a little bit about your free gift.
So the free gift is helping you to master a mighty money mindset. A lot of M's in there. But here's the truth. If you don't know your relationship to money, it's going to be really hard for you to attract money. And so this free workbook that I'm giving you is going to help you really get clear on what is your relationship to money and identify the mindset that you're currently in, because the mindset that you're currently in may be blocking your abundance. And so you want to become aware. You know, the saying about you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And so if you're not aware of where your mindset is, if you're not aware that you're operating more in a fixed mindset as opposed to a growth mindset, then you'll continue that cycle and you'll keep doing the same things over and over, expecting different results. And we know what that means, right? That's insanity. So you want to make certain that you are becoming aware of what is my money mindset? How do I relate to money, right? A lot of us have a negative money mindset because, again, of what was told to us when we were growing up as children. How many of you have heard 1,000,000 times, money doesn't grow on trees? Right? I probably even said it to my child. But it is a mindset and a seed that was planted within us, and we carry that into adulthood, and we certainly carry it into our business. And we start to think that the only way for me to really generate substantial money in my business is I've got to work hard. That's not true, right? A part of this, a big part of this is your mindset. Now you got to do the work. Let's not excuse that. You have to do the work, but you don't have to work hard to create and bring in money in your business. So this free workbook is going to help you really get clear on what is your money mindset.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much for offering that. That is a great gift, and I'm definitely going to use it. I do think I have a pretty good mindset, but I just want to check in, like you said, got to check in, see what you're thinking. So yes. I'll be using that as well. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. You have dropped some really good jewels for our attendees, and yeah, I'm really excited that you're our first interview as well.
Thank you. I'm so super excited to be here and to share this information. You know me, this is my sandbox. Like I love talking about mindset and really helping entrepreneurs to shift away from, thinking that it's not possible for them, that they can't have, do, or be what they desire. And you can, right? So make sure that you, again, become aware of what you're thinking.
Now, how can our attendees find you outside of the summit?
So I am Valerie Priester across all social media. Make it really, really simple for you to find me. And then I also have a group for female heart conscious coaches on Facebook, and that is the title of the group. You can connect with me there. in that group, we help to encourage you, motivate you, inspire you, give you training every month, really helping you to grow or launch your coaching business.
Perfect, perfect. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for attending today. This is a great interview. We have more to come, so make sure to tune in tomorrow as well. Yeah, I think that ends it all for today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.